Hello everybody, and welcome to a special edition of my WCSL Season 3 Draft League No Max No Legends coverage. I'm here today because I made an impulse decision, as the title will probably say. So today is going to be about a waiver that I've made. So if you don't know, a waiver is where I will essentially trade in one of the Pokemon that I drafted for a Pokemon that went undrafted in the initial draft. So this is the impulse decision that I'm talking about. I really made this on a whim, but at the same time, it's something that I thought a lot about, and I had to really question myself whether I was actually willing to go through with. So without any further build-up or ado, let's get into the Pokemon I've wavered away. So I'm picking up a new D tier, and so I had to figure out which of my... I've been thinking about this really hard, and this is one of the real reasons that it took me so long to come to a decision. I've been thinking about making this waiver, considering it, since Thursday of week 1. And I've only made it this last Monday of week 2, which, because the week starts on Tuesday, it's been more than a week and a half that I've thought about this. I had to... The real reason is all of my D tiers are really good this season, or all of them have been in the past. Berserker is just a fantastic Pokemon. It has really great synergies with my entire team. It has Steely Spirit, it has Fake Out, it has a bunch of really good support, and it's also really strong offensively in Trick Room, and because of all that, I decided I would keep Berserker. Similarly, Frostmoth, it gives me something that I didn't already have in Tailwind. It gives me Wide Guard. It gives me an Ice type and a Bug type for great coverage into a lot of Pokemon, especially Dragon types and Dark types and Psychic types that I'm otherwise maybe not hitting as easily. And Cinccino really proved its worth in our battle video, which should be up. This video that I'm recording, that you are all watching, is probably going up Thursday or Friday. Unfortunately, the battle video will have been delayed until probably Wednesday, but honestly, I think it's going to be a great watch nonetheless, because I'm bringing in Nex from the Lily Cove Fields, who is the draft manager for the league, and also a great training partner of mine. We go back and forth bouncing ideas off each other for teams, largely because neither of us is playing the other until hopefully the playoffs this season. So we're doing what we can to help each other. And definitely check out that channel. I will link to the LC's Fields channel in the description of that video. And maybe even this one if I remember. Yeah, Frostmoth proved really good in team building, and I haven't really found a good way to incorporate Cinccino with the rest of my Mons. So unfortunately, Cinccino had to drop. It was just the weakest link in a team of very strong links. I would have loved to use Cinccino. If I were able to keep all of my D tiers and trade, honestly, a C tier, I probably still wouldn't have, but because I have amazing C tiers as well. But, such is life, and I really have no other options. But Cinccino, it was great to have you on the team, but really the problem with Cinccino is it plays in a very predictable way. It's usually going to be either holding King's Rock or a choice item, either Band or Scarf. It's almost always going to be Skill Link. If not, it might be Technician, but usually Skill Link. And it's usually going to run at least 3 of these moves, if not all 4 of them, and just try to wear down the opponent with multi-hit attacks. And it always plays in its super high speed tier, base 115. I already have 2 Pokemon that are in the high 120s range, or mid 120s. So it really didn't feel like Cinccino added as much to the team as Frostmoth did and as Berserker did. So, unfortunately, I've wavered Cinccino away, but now what have I taken on in Cinccino's place? And it's time for the big reveal. Absol! So Absol went completely undrafted with a base 130 attack stat, and as soon as I realized this a couple Thursdays ago, which will be almost 2 weeks by the time this video goes out, I immediately started thinking, wow, that would be a super nice pickup. Now, naturally, the rest of its stats are very mediocre to even bad. Like, it does not have great bulk. It's comparable bulk to Cinccino, about the same. Its speed is in a middling tier. It's the same speed tier as Dracovish, which makes you think really fast, but Dracovish is always holding a Choice Scarf, so if it's not in like Tailwind or something. So it's really kind of middling at best, but that's actually really nice for the team for Draft League, especially because I do have a Tailwind option and because I also have a Trick Room option. It can play both ways, depending on what it wants to do. And really the big thing about Absol that I like is it's got a super versatile range of ways I can play it. I've just picked up 3 random sets and put some other options for moves on a 4th Pokemon, but there's so many ways I can play this Pokemon that it's going to be really hard for my opponent to prep for. And prep is honestly 90% of the battle. Team building, super important stuff. Without further ado, let's discuss some of these sets and why I think they're hard to prepare for and they're super strong. First things first, we have this Super Luck set with Razor Claw and a bunch of moves that get high crit rate. This is one of the things that Absol is known for. It literally can crit every single move with a combination of Super Luck, Razor Claw, and a high crit rate move. That's a guaranteed critical hit because it's plus 3 stages. And it gets a lot of crit moves. Night Slash, most notably, is its stab high crit rate move. So when this crits, it's essentially 160 base power nearly. Effectively. It also gets Psycho Cut, Shadow Claw. To just name 2 of them, I can scroll through the list here and we can find the rest of them. But there are a huge number. You get Stone Edge, naturally, which normally is something that I will not bring, but if Rock-type coverage is strong, it's a super good possibility to have just a base 150 power move, essentially, because it crits. I could bring... what other high crit rate move? Just Slash is another option. And of course, I could run this same set without high crit rate moves with just Super Luck and just have Focus Energy, and then I'm critting everything with Super Luck alone. Just a ton of options for this kind of Super Luck set. Naturally, normally these are the kind of EVs I'm going to give it. It's usually going to be max speed, max attack, but it can also be min speed, 0 speed, and invested a little bit more heavily in its bulk. So my next set that I've got here is a Justified set. Justified is something that I think is really powerful with my team. Absol is one of the only Justified users that's legal. I think the other one is Gallade. And I'm just going to double check that real quick. But yeah, it's that, Gallade, and Arcanine Lucario. So it's really good budget Justified. For those who aren't aware, Justified means that I can, if I get hit with a Dark type attack, it raises my attack by a stage. Normally, it's a very situational kind of thing, but I have Weavile on my team. And that makes a difference, because Weavile gets the move Beat Up, which I've already used in week 1. If you want to see how I used it there, it's completely different from how I'm using it here. Because here, the way I'm going to be using Beat Up is I'm going to beat up into my own Absol to trigger Justified 4 times, raising its attack stage to 3 times what it normally would be. And then I have options of going for something like a super strong knockoff. I can just start rock sliding and doing super strong spread damage to both opposing Pokemon. I get priority with Sucker Punch. I could also go with Quick Attack there. I could go with Feint there. It gets a lot of really good strong coverage moves, actually, which is something else great. It gets 13 types of coverage out of the total 17, I want to say there are. So just a ton of options. Body Slam, Close Combat, Double Edge. It could go for an Iron Tail, Mega Horn, Play Rough. All this stuff is completely viable for me. Throat Chop, X Scissors, Zen Headbutt. I could go for a Bounce if I want to be really crazy. Generally speaking, it's just got a lot of options with this Justified set with the Choice Scarf, and I think that this kind of set is going to be super powerful anytime it gets on the field. It's going to force my opponent to really quickly react. And having the option to force my opponent to prep for this is another really important thing, because with a Choice Scarf, it's outspeeding base 120s. It's not outspeeding Weavile, though, at max speed, and that's the other thing. Weavile with max speed will outspeed Choice Scarf Absol at max speed, so I can beat up into my own Absol, and then my Absol will attack immediately thereafter, and not the other way around, specifically. Now, the other thing Absol can do is it can run a support set, and that's the other big thing. I can bluff some sort of a Justified Absol, and I'm really just running support, or I'm running Super Luck. But it gets a lot of good support moves. It gets Snarl, it gets Icy Wind, just to name a couple of good ones. It also gets Will-O-Wisp and Thunder Wave. Thunder Wave is another move that it gets. I could name a dozen. It gets Swords Dance, Baton Pass. Knockoff can be considered one at some point, but really there's just a whole ton of support options for this Pokemon, and it just, I mean, a lot of those are another option, so I suppose I'll get right onto that. But Absol is really versatile on support as well. It plays so multidimensionally. It gets Taunt, which is good against Trick Room matchups if I'm not wanting to get Trick Room up. But finally, I'm just going to go on to my other options, because Absol doesn't just have these. It gets a whole plethora of other choices to make. It can run Feint to go through Protect, nullify it, just completely break the Protect of an opposing team that wants to try to stall out maybe a Trick Room or something. Feint will just cut right through that. I put Rain Dance here, but Rain Dance is one of its 4 weather options because it gets all 4 manual weathers. I can run Rain Dance, I can run Sunny Day, I can run Hail, or I can run Sandstorm. Or some combination of them. Just a lot of options there. Curse can be good on, say, a Trick Room set where I want to run Min Speed with a minus speed nature. I can run something like this, and then after a Curse, I'm already down to like 48 speed, which is underspeeding, I think, base 50s. So just really nice option there in Curse to have all of that flexibility I can just set up. I could also use Swords Dance if I'm a faster set to set up, but Curse is good for Trick Room. And of course, Perish Song is super important, and it's super good on Absol. You can even put it on a Justified set if you figure you can take 2 quick KOs with a beat up Rock Slide on turn 1. Then the next turn you can just Perish Song and everything dies. And at that point, it's almost a guaranteed win. So just really a ton of options for this Pokemon, and I'm super excited for what it brings to the team just in general, and everything I'm going to do with it in this upcoming season. So, on that note, thank you to everyone who is watching this. If you want to see more draft content, my next video is going out on Monday. It should be out on time because I've got an entire free weekend ahead of me, but who knows what will happen in the meantime. So just keep your fingers crossed for that. And then the battle video will be out the following day at Tuesday at midnight. So again, sorry for the delay on the previous, but everything went wrong, so as you will undoubtedly know. And if you don't know, then what are you doing watching this? Watch the previous week's battle video and figure out how literally everything went wrong that week. Again, thank you for watching, and I'll see you then. Bye!